Hi, everybody. This is Nate. Welcome to Meet the Psychic Press. And I wanted to welcome Kelly, Sabrina, and Tina as volunteers who wanted to ask me some questions today. I have not seen the question in advance, but I also wanted to thank you so very much for your time and your courage to come on stage here in the recording studio. And before we get to the questions, I wanted to give you also a little bit of time to introduce yourself, to share a little bit about you, whatever you wanted to share with the YouTube community. So let's start with you, Kelly. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Um, I'm I'm disabled and I stay at home, so I don't do I'm not I don't have a job or anything like that. Um, so I'm not really I wasn't prepared to do this, but I would have thought of something to say. But I live in rural Iowa, and
Okay.
yeah, so I'm a blue dot here, so. We just had we had election here. It was local elections and stuff like that, but we had a really good turnout. So for the small of town that I live in. But that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. No, that was perfect. And thank you so much for taking your time. We appreciate it. Sabrina, welcome, Sabrina. I know we emailed each other a few times, and you've been a little bit around YouTube. So why don't you introduce yourself as well to the community?
Okay, thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Sabrina, and I do have a YouTube channel. It's Sabrina Tree of Life Inner Guidance. I'm fairly new to YouTube, but I'm not new to giving sort of broadcast. I started doing this on Facebook right after the election a year ago, and here we are again. So, my whole channel is basically coping skills for crazy times. I don't talk about politics. So, I want people, when they're done listening to politics, to say, I can't take it anymore. And then come over and have watch what I'm putting up on the channel. So, I am a little new to YouTube. And I'm very excited to tell you all that I just did my first Oracle deck. And I'm in New Mexico. So, this deck, I do have a little 20-minute chat on my channel that shows a lot of the cards here. And this is from Santa Fe. And I was just out being a tourist, even though I live in New Mexico. And I just kind of got this flash of, oh my, I'm going to do an Oracle deck, all my own original photography. So it's pretty exciting. And then, of course, once you do one, I have four more planned. It's just a matter of time. So, what I actually have been doing for 40 years is I am a fitness professional. I was a train the trainer, and I got sent all over the world to train instructors. So I had the great fortune of being in Cairo a couple times, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, and I've been to Jamaica 4 times, and I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity because, as you know, Jamaica just got really hit with a big hurricane. So yes, I still do all the fitness stuff, and then the whole YouTube thing is, I think it's great fun, and I'm delighted to be here. So thank you.
Awesome, Sabrina. And I put your link to your channel. And if you're watching this, you can just go ahead and subscribe to Sabrina's channel. And it's free. So why not? And I've seen some of her videos and I really enjoyed them. So thank you. And we have Tina. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm one of your dedicated followers, YouTube followers. So once you were introduced by Linda G. After
Yes.
that, I have myself experienced that your predictions have been very accurate. And yeah, so I do recommend you, and I do follow Marianne, Linda G,
Okay.
Cash Peters, and I think Sterling. Never miss any Sunday episode from Sterling. So they guide us, during, especially now. I, for some reason, don't understand politics. It doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of not, doesn't cater to our needs, daily life. It gives me a headache. So that is something I mentally block out of my mind. I'm happy with my kiddies. I am a healthcare worker. Work in itself is, enough to keep us busy, and we don't want extra stress. And yeah, I just for some reason, since childhood, I've been always aware of the divine energy that rules us. We don't control ourselves. Sometimes we think we are the boss of our lives. We are not. So, for some reason, I've seen that, experienced that. So I believe that, leave things to God, and usually things go fine. And don't try to mess too much with the regular cycle. And that has helped me to stay calm and relax, and meditation. And over the last many years, I've realized now over time that I may have developed some kind of psychic ability. I'm not sure, but my gut feeling about people is usually correct. It's being proven. Difficult people, difficult situations. Usually I get some kind of a sense, and usually that is the reason behind it later on when I look back. So yeah, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. And without necessarily telling us exactly what part of the country are you from,
Upstate New
generally?
York.
Okay.
Upstate New
Thank
York.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
And before we get started, just a reminder that I have done some 2026 predictions from all the signs on my YouTube channel. You can also see them on my magazine. There's a paper version and there's a digital version that you can get. And also for another 15 days, I have for sale the Voices of the Whale Oracle and the book. So I wanted to mention that for people to know, as it's Christmas, and that could be good ideas for Christmas gifts. Now that we have mentioned all this, Kelly, we can get started with your questions.
Okay. My first one is about Mike Johnson. And I was wondering, is he going to be unseated anytime soon? And if so, is it going to be a uh, one of the GOP members, like
Mhm.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, or
Yes.
one of the more outspoken GOPs?
Because I saw recently, like, there was some sort of news of Marjorie Taylor Greene wanting to challenge Mike Johnson's as speaker. So your question is, how will he do? Will he be unseated as speaker? Right? That's your question, Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson as speaker. What do you see? First card is the Chariot. He is moving forward and he's very determined to move forward. The next card is the Seven of Swords. He has enemies, but that's also him, that sneaky person with the knife in the background, very sneaky energy. And so I feel like he is aware that he has people that are against him, even in the Republican Party. But I see him keep going and keep going. And so I don't see him being unseated. I feel that he is, managing his enemies and managing his enemies, friends close, both. And I don't get this feeling that it is going to get to the point of him being unseated, even though there will be challenges.
Okay.
I feel, though, if we're looking past the midterms, yes, it will be unseated, but
Yeah.
I assume your question was up to the midterms.
Yeah. Before that
Yeah.
all happens. Yeah.
All right. Your next question?
Oh, okay. Will the filibuster be killed?
That's a
Trump has
great
been
question.
he's been like screaming about it.
I got that there's a really strong fear about putting that into place. I just get a sense of fear here. So let's see, will they use the filibuster? I'm not getting cards here that actually feel like this is going to be pushed forward. I think the idea itself is being toyed about, but temperance is the idea of let's try to figure out, let's try to find a way. The Four of Swords, that's not a card of action. And then the Hermit, that doesn't also, that's kind of a standalone card. I really feel like Trump wants it and is going to keep pushing and pushing for it. But I'm feeling a lot of resistance from the Republicans. So I'm leaning more towards no, even though there's that strong push from Trump,
Hmm.
because I feel like the fear that I'm picking up is the fear that it could backfire.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want my next one?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, will Newsom be successful in Texas with his power move? I'm not sure what his power move is, but I saw something yesterday about him um, doing something with Texas and like with all of this gerrymandering and everything that they have going on. So I'm not real sure what he's going to do, but
I
can
have
you
not
see?
seen
I
anything.
was just,
So your
oh,
question
sorry.
is, no, no, sorry, actually. Is your question about will Gavin Newsom do something in Texas or in response to Texas?
Well, the way that sorry, the way that I took the article was that he was supposed to make some kind of a power move in Texas.
Oh, maybe Sabrina or Tina, did you see something similar to this? Or I can just read blind, but I was wondering if you heard something similar.
I have a question about Gavin Newsom, but it's not in
Okay,
Texas.
okay.
So there's something faint in the background of my mind that I heard something, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Something in the news, something
Okay.
similar. Yeah, I
Let's
don't.
read if I see something. Yes.
Okay.
What would Gavin Newsom, and it's okay to read blind, we'll see actually. Um, what will Gavin Newsom do in Texas? What will there's definitely an energy here. I mean, look at that. The Eight of Wands, that's a forward energy, and the Tower. So there's like a sense of, to me, that would go along with almost with battling with the gerrymandering. And we know like he's doing that with Prop 50. But I feel like, to your point, Kelly, I feel like there's something more that is trying to do to stop the what's going on in Texas. I wonder if there could be maybe a legal action. He wants to stop the sneaky things going on behind the scene. Six of Swords moving towards a better place. I get this. I don't know what the specific action, but you're right. I see him involved to try to change the direction of Texas with the gerrymandering. I don't know what it can actually do, but it feels to me from those cards like he has an idea to
Yeah.
fight against it, and maybe the idea hasn't been fully explained, but I mean, I'm getting like a very big explosion. So it could be really going head to head between California and Texas, the two governors. I felt
Yeah.
like there's that energy.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Okay. And then my last question, it's kind of a long one. So
That's
um,
okay.
Trump posted a message about how bad Obamacare is. And it's so terrible that they should just give the money to the people so they can find their own coverage. Will this, I know, will this
I am
be the,
on Obamacare, so this is a big deal. The
I
ACA,
know
this is
it.
a really big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Yep. Will this be the catalyst that gets the Medicare for all started?
Oh, Medicare for all. I don't have the feeling that we're there yet at all. I feel like this is something that I do see in the US, but years, right? Years, not even 2, 3 years. Like we're talking 5, 10, something of that nature. But let's see what the cards say about Medicare for all. I have the feeling that this will come true, but we're nowhere near that. Yes, Six of Swords, moving to a better place. Temperance, there's more waiting, but this is a card of healing and health. Six of Wands, success. So it
Mm,
will go through, but there's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of
okay.
waiting. But I feel like the system is coming to an implosion or explosion. It doesn't really matter how you call it, and
Yeah.
it will force. It's going to be a huge battle, huge battle. And I get that this is what will come. Tina, you maybe want to mention something. You work in healthcare, so I'm sure you have an opinion.
So will the Medicare continue the way it is now? Because they're talking about cuts in Medicaid, not Medicare. These are two different things.
Yes.
So how much cut in Medicaid and how much in Medicare, if there's any percentage or something? Because everybody's being impacted.
Mhm. There, if you remember going back in time, the big, beautiful bill doesn't have cuts to Medicare, but has cuts to Medicaid. And those cuts actually have been scheduled out. Some of them have already come through, but some of them are just kicking in after the midterms, for example. So people have not seen the impact. And I believe this is not psychic, but it is just logic that they don't want those cuts to come before the midterms.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to
Exactly.
keep things. And so I don't have an exact percentage for you, but there's certainly cuts to Medicaid. But those, I cannot give you a number because those numbers depend from what you get, what each person, each situation is different. But it's quite significant.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is. Yeah.
staggered, and it's staggered. And so
Yeah.
some people have already been impacted. Some people, for example, with Medicare, some people that have been in nursing homes have not received the Medicare payment for, and that has already happened. Unfortunately, sadly, there's more to come. But a question that I haven't covered yet, but I've said that I see the house turning blue in November next year, which will have the opportunity, I believe, to overturn the cuts that have not been happening yet. So,
So
yes.
so what the patients are worried is will there be gap now with most patients in their treatments? Will significant gap on like they're just confused. Like are they be just left alone like that, or, with no solution? When will they finally be able to come back to the doctors? In 2027?
Okay, so you're talking for ones that were using Medicare or Medicaid or Medicare?
Both are not too happy. So
Yes,
basically Medicaid, of course, but I think I'm hearing about Medicare also
Medicare.
now. Yeah,
You're right that there has been people that
yeah,
have reported. I had someone on my show yesterday talking about, and I'm really not an expert, but like part A and B are still
yeah,
there, but
yeah,
part D has been removed, for example.
yeah.
So that's an
Something has been removed.
example.
Yeah.
So let's ask the card, how long will be the wait for
Yeah,
people whose benefits have been removed? And
yeah.
how long?
Like somebody needing dialysis,
Yes.
older people, how
Yes.
long is the wait?
The issue is the money is not coming. So the government money is not covering, and that's really what the issue is. I feel like there will be having to wait. And to me, the Emperor and Strength is going back. Ace of Cups, that my blue card, like Democrat card, coming into the midterms, and I don't feel like there's going to be, sadly, anything for them until there's an opportunity for Democrats to be back in the House and reset some of these. So that's like a year gap
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
instances.
Year of no treatment.
If they don't have any other means, sadly, yes. It's very, I'm glad that you bring
Very
this.
sad. Yeah.
Well, it's tragic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's evil is what it
It's
is.
evil. It is evil. Evil. And maybe you want to continue on that, Sabrina, with your section.
Okay. I'm shifting gears a little.
Yes.
I have wondered this for quite some time. I would like to know, how are our 3 female liberal Supreme Court justices holding up? How are they? This must be an absolute nightmare for them. You know, Sotomayor and Keegan and Kintaji, who should be running the Supreme Court. How are they doing? How are they dealing with this crap? Literally.
This is just fascinating to see the cards. First card is the Five of Cups, the disappointment. You can see almost looking at the capital here. So what is very interesting is, look, there's 3 cups down, in like in major traditional tarot, 3 cups down, 2 cups up. This has to deal with, we're trying to save what we can. We don't have the majority, but we're going to try to do our best to salvage whatever we can. But there's a great sense of disappointment. And the Fool, they feel really on edge. They really feel on edge here. And the big issue, Four of Pentacles, people, the oligarch, Republicans, the other justices holding on, and the connection with money. So they are feeling very bad. They still feel, I feel like, a duty to salvage and to hold tight whatever they can. But they feel like they're fighting against the oligarchy.
Well, they kind of are.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just feel super bad for them. Next question. I'll have to figure out how to phrase this. So what seems to be happening, and this is not just in the United States, this seems to be happening worldwide. There's, and some of this has been stamped out, thankfully. Thank you, Canada. There's such a rise of these right-wing, crazy parties. What is a message that you could give us, or your guides could give us? Why is this happening? And what are we to learn from it? Because I feel like, definitely in the United States, we did not learn our lesson back in 2016. So I feel like we still have a lot to learn here in the US, but why is this happening worldwide? What is the message about that? That was my spiritual question. So,
and that's also, that's a good spiritual question, but also a very 3D reality question as well. What they're showing me is that pendulum, right? And the energy I get from it is that, and I've experienced that, is that during the years of progress, during the years, particularly, we can go before, but particularly Obama years, Biden years, there's been progressive ideas that have come through. And that has created, the pendulum shifting to the left has creating a backlash, if you will. Remember what we got for civil rights, first African American president, we got same-sex marriage, we got so much progress. And that progress, what we've enjoyed, that progress, it has created a resentment from the other side. And so that resentment is creating this fighting, this backlash. And so basically, it is physics where the pendulum is shifting the other way. And it's actually true in Europe. It is true in other countries. We've been through a wave of progress. And that wave of progress, what we certainly, all of us were watching here now, feel very good about that progress. Some people not only didn't want it, but didn't want this progress to continue. If you watch through the history of civil rights and progressive ideas, it's never a straight line. It's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but there's still progress. Actually, I would say that we're still progressing. In many ways, we still have more progress now than 100 years ago, just looking at so many things. But it's that back and forth and backlash. I feel the message is very clear from Spirit. They want us to know that fighting is actually on our side too. We can never rest on our laurels. The rights that we have, the rights that we've fought for, we have to constantly fight for them, because there's always going to be the resistance on the other side for equality, for progress, for human progress, for income inequality, all of those topics. Tina?
When will we be back on the same progress track, back on the track,
Okay.
especially with all these rights for different groups? And again, I'm again after all this little apprehensive again. Will there be another backlash against the recent Mamdani victory? Because there could be a backlash for that also.
It's interesting. In this magazine, I also bring back predictions from Baba Vanga, which is a very famous psychic, and Nostradamus. It's interesting to me that they're both very aligned on things shifting drastically much, much better when we get to the years 2030. So I'm not saying that there's no progress before 2030, but also something just that is worth mentioning. 2025, you add the 2, the 5, that's a year 9 in astrology. End of 9 is an end of cycle. Next year, 2026, 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10, goes down to 1, new beginning. So there's also a pattern here of we're kind of ending this cycle, getting to a better cycle. And frankly, whether you look at Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, they're on their last legs. It's not just happening just quite now, but imagine when those three are gone from power, the world, whatever you want to call it. The world shifts into, also this connects with that shift that we're talking about. So I feel like we're not in the new phase just yet, but we're feeling everything feels rotten. That 9 energy, end of cycle, that we're at the end of the end here. So I wanted to offer that. Yeah.
I have a
Kelly?
question. Thank you. When you mention the three, Trump, Putin, and
Netanyahu.
yeah. For some reason, it was like I got a flash that was like when one goes down, the other will follow. Is that how it's going to work?
Well, it's interesting, but yes, I feel like there's a domino effect. And also, I'm not an astrologer, but if you watch some YouTube astrologers, Nathe or Andre Carr,
Yeah.
you'll see that their patterns astrologically are very similar. So that says something.
Okay.
Back to your question, Sabrina.
Okay, thank you. Um, so after I listened to Pam Gregory and Frank Clifford, who runs the London School of Astrology, because I also do astrology. But after looking at Prince Andrew's chart, my question is he going to give some pushback about losing his title and having to move out? Or is he just going to go away quietly with his tail between his legs? And he's got some pretty, I mean, he's got a kind of a little bit of a Playboy chart, but he has some pretty strong things in there that, I don't know.
I don't get much of an energy of someone who is trying to fight back or make a scene or go head to head. I get the sense from the cards that this is someone who knows very well what he did, who knows very much is stacked against him. He also knows that any word he says could be used in a court of law. So I feel like he's gonna stay. Three of Wands, I see him staying away from the public, actually.
We're delighted with that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to have to look at this on my phone. So my next question is, I believe it's this week. Gavin Newsom, and this was my Gavin Newsom question. He is going to Brazil to basically represent California, which is the fourth largest economy in the world, at the climate change summit. And I'll give you the name of this summit here.
The COP,
So
COP
it's
30, I believe.
it's COP30 in Brazil, and he's heading there because the United States has no representation aside from him. So I would just like to know what's the energy around this, and how is this going to go for him and California? I mean, we all know what his end game is, and I'm personally, I think others are also, delighted that somebody is fighting back.
Yes,
about
of course.
everything. I love him. Get him. Sorry, I'm super enthusiastic.
He is
But,
definitely going. Six of Swords, you see him going. It's actually Queen of Cups, the energy of compassion and, the idea of Mother Gaia, the care about the world and the planet. I think this is going to be extremely successful. Six of Wands. And the Four of Wands, I feel like he's going to make alliances during this COP30 summit. So it's actually going to look bad for the Trump administration because someone's doing exceptionally well will reflect bad. Plus, you can imagine the photos with the heads of states and whatnot. Yeah.
he is no dummy. He is no
No.
dummy. Not at all. He's on a mission, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Okay. So my next question is, I was listening to Erica last night on In the Company of Cards. She's lovely. And I find it very interesting that allegedly there's billions of dollars that have been brought in from the tariffs, billions, not millions, billions, and they're nowhere to be found. So can you imagine that? Shocking. So the tariff money is nowhere to be found. And this whole issue is getting talked about with the Supreme Court. What is going to happen with this whole tariff thing? In that, if the Supreme Court says, hey, this was out of line, this was illegal, then the United States is going to have to pay that money back to these countries that we collected the tariffs from. So I'm just curious how all of this is going to go down, because it's another hot mess.
Just suggesting maybe some of this missing money is into someone's pocket by any chance?
Now, did I say that? Did I imply that? Maybe. I know it's not in my pocket.
I read on that before, so I can tell you what I saw. I feel like the decision from the Supreme Court will be a mixed bag decision. because some of those tariffs, they're all not created equal. Some of those tariffs have certain rules, some have other rules, etc., etc. I feel like some of this money, they're gonna say, okay, well, it was okay that Congress didn't authorize, and as such, the money could be kept. Some others, I feel, will have to be returned, but the process to return it will be extremely messy, and they're gonna drag their feet.
Of course.
And so it's going to be, yes, like you said, a big mess for the part that is being returned. But it will have to be returned to the importers who paid those taxes. And I feel like it's the process itself, the way to return. Obviously, you can't return something that you no longer have. So yes, it's gonna be very messy, but I don't think it's for the whole tariffs. I think they're gonna, even though it's true, like for people who heard the hearing, that it sounded like the Supreme Court was mostly vocal about, yes, it shouldn't have happened, but in the end, I think they're gonna have a mixed bag ruling.
What a mess. Okay. So I'm sure you've read on this, so I'm sorry to make you repeat yourself if you have. Regarding the shutdown, Robert, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Rate, did I say that right? Reigh, Robert Reid. Did I? Anyway, so he had a Substack that came out, and he said that the last time that the government was shut down, the reason why it was reopened was because of the air traffic controllers.
Yes.
And now we're seeing this huge percentage. 10% of all flights down is billions of dollars for the airlines. So do you see that may potentially get the shutdown back up and running, so to speak, because of air traffic? The last thing today that came out was Orange Julius said that he was not going to negotiate at all with the Democrats, and he didn't want to hear it, and that was that. So I guess my question is, what will be the last straw that ends the shutdown? Is it air traffic controllers?
I think maybe you're referring to Robert Reich, who was
Yes,
senator.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not pronouncing his last name
No,
properly. I
but
apologize.
no,
Yes.
no, it's okay. It's been a long, long time, even at the beginning of shutdown that I've mentioned. We've seen the tower a lot of times, and that felt like the tower of an airport tower, control tower. Uh, I feel like this is indeed one big issue. Two aspects that I've read on that I wanted to bring is that the economic impact, it is not just the flights, but it is the janitor at the airport, the barista at the Starbucks at the airport, and so on and so forth. The rental cars, the hotels, everything. So the impact on the economy is just massive, not just the airline itself. That's the economic aspect. I am more concerned, that has been my read from the very beginning. I'm worried about safety.
Yeah.
And so there's the money aspect, but I've had this very weird feeling that I hope, and this is, so I can't tell if this is a prediction or a fear, because this is how it feels with me, but I hope there is no plane crash or accident. And that, if that was the case, that would clearly end this shutdown. Now, I'll add a third thing. I feel very, very much that the results of the elections on last Tuesday are pushing Trump to put an end to this, because that's a popular pressure, and I think it does play a role.
Okay.
Those three elements: the economy, in general, not just airport. Safety worries me. And then the elections, the results.
Okay. My last question, and I'm kind of giggling about this. So some say that the 2024 election was tampered with
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And then some people say that, well, if it was tampered with that much, we would have known, something would have been done. So I guess I'm just wondering whether it was tampered with or not. Do you see this person still being in charge throughout the rest of 2025 and into 2026? Or is there something that is going to happen, whether it's, you know, Truth Alliance, or they get information and seriously substantial proof to get rid of this monster? Sorry, I'm going to say it like it
And
is.
I have no idea who you're talking about. No. So, I mean,
No, I
uh,
mean, you know, we all want to have hope that this is going to come to an end, and I just think it is astonishing to me that this regime could be supported at all with all the damage. And the damage is not just US, the damage is going worldwide from this
oh,
this malignancy that is in charge. And I'm just wondering, you know, do
yeah,
you
my take
I
on
know
all this.
timing is super hard, but what do you see regarding all this, maybe the next 6 months, the last month or two here and into 2026?
I mean, first of all, let's go back to the 2024 elections. One thing that we know for sure is that there was tampering happening with the bomb threat. That was, like when to scare people to vote with bomb threat. That was investigated by the FBI and proven to be tampering. So if we even just keep this little piece, you only need one piece to say, was there tampering? That piece alone was there. Yes, there was. If it's only for this piece, I feel like there's been a lot of activity. Um, Also, we know Musk, we know, a lot of things. But all that being said, I've always said, and I've been consistent with it, I've always said that I see Trump doing his full term except for a health issue. So, and I believe there will be a health issue that will prevent him to do the full term. But other than that, even though there's all these things about election interference, I see him doing this term, but what's going to stop him is his health. And when we look at his health, I've always been consistent. I see him coming out of surgery on a wheelchair. When I don't think he's at the point yet, even though his health is deteriorating, because he has many good doctors and they can, it doesn't have to worry about Medicare and Medicaid. Um, so I don't think he's there yet. But if it's not for a health issue, I feel like he will finish his term. I feel like there's going to be a health issue before that. But in any case, he will be severely limited by the results of the midterms if it's not gone yet, you know. But I just don't know when. Like I don't even want to say I see him gone by this date of that date because I don't know and I don't want to disappoint, and the spirits are not showing me a time.
Right, right. Well, you know, timing is
Yes.
always a little bit difficult, but okay, all right. That's
Thank
all I
you.
have.
Thank you. That was good as well. And Tina, I believe it's your turn.
So my first question is about this whole year. People in different parts of the world have been under the fear of wars, and now there's escalation of nuclear testing. So globally speaking, uh, and also when you watch these news, people tend to scare more about internet shutdowns, people not able to fly overseas if they have to, if there's a world war, etc., in coming years. I don't know if it's true or not, but regarding these nuclear threats, commercial flights or international flights not being able to take place, or internet shutdowns, and then there are fears of banks being closed, or not digital access, for banking not being available for days. All these kind of fears are out there in the social media. So do you see these kind of things happening in the next, when will the world be out of all these fears, these very negative fears and the whole world is affected by that, and so if you see social media, how many years we are, and do you actually see a nuclear event actually happening? In which part of the world, what country could be target of that? And how many years of fear of all this? Especially not able
You
to
want to know
travel,
everything.
not able to travel out of fear, with international flights not taking place and all.
I don't think those fears are going to disappear anytime soon because there's reasons to be fearful. Now, I don't see a world war, but regional wars. I've been talking about this, and we're getting more and more regional wars, but I don't see them turning into global or world war. Ukraine, we have the Middle East. I also feel like this is not finished with Iran. Um, I also feel like something in Asia is going to come. We were very close, India, Pakistan, and I feel like this is still very hot. Taiwan feels very hot as well. And it's something that I have mentioned like before even all these discussions about Venezuela is Central South America. I am concerned there, and I feel like there's reason to be concerned for Central and South America, but again on a regional basis. So not global. That limits the limit of not traveling, so to speak, depending on where and when. Now, as far as internet bank systems, yes, I think we should be fearful. I see cyber attacks. The internet has been down quite a few times this year. So I see issues there. I see electricity is being shut down potentially a day. I see sometimes you see that on the internet, the 3 days of darkness, this topic of the 3 days of darkness. To me, the 3 days of darkness, that's not like a spiritual thing. To me, that's like no power, possibly 2 or 3 days because of electricity, hacking, solar flares, and the internet. I am very concerned about that. So, to answer your question specifically, when will those fears go away? They will not go away. And we are adjusting ourselves that we live into a dangerous world. Is this going to explode with a nuke and all of that, a global war? No, but limited issues at limited time, yes.
So my next question. So two situations regarding I enjoy going to Canada in summertime. I don't have words, such lovely people, right? So after all this that has happened this year, and the other thing is New Year Eve and Times Square. So there's always very when you live in New York, you kind of assume and have already always assumed that's always safe. There's always FBI there. There's always police, everything taken care of for New Year event and all. But when we hear these news, especially this year, I read in news somewhere that some of the very seasoned FBI or even the military, top leaders had to retire. People with real secrets to protect the country from who were in different parts of the world for years, for decades, had to retire or just but are not there to now give in the very important inputs. So when will our goodwill be the same again, like going to Canada and being welcomed? Like you go to store now, they've even taken off items like made in USA. At this, it was in the news, so there was a little backlash because of tariffs and all, and also being safe in general. Are we more equally safe now? Are we less safe now because of the very seasoned people not in job, whether it's the CIA or the FBI or the military? When is all this going to be reinstated?
First of all, I don't see Americans not being safe in Canada. I
No.
feel like there's
Uh,
tension. Of course, there's tensions because of the Trump administrations, but there's nothing that tells me that Americans shouldn't go to Canada. I see them being just fine. Let me read specifically on New York City and the risks in New York City, because I feel like yes, I feel like there are some risks. Also, what got into my intuition is it's very cynical, but the Trump administration maybe wouldn't mind some events in New York City to be able to blame Mandani. So I feel like there may be something there. Let me have a look in the card. That's something that I just heard, that I'm not suggesting them creating something, but politically, you could see how they could try to take benefit of a situation. Um, New York, New York City, and safety. I'm not picking up on a particular event, at least in the short term, but it feels to me very tense, this energy. Very tense. I feel like there's some no more, no less risks than behind the scenes are going. I'm not seeing like an explosion. I'm not seeing an event. I just feel like there's a lot of tense energy. I feel like people are aware that maybe some certain acts are being stopped before they can actually happen. We might hear that there was some activity and they were ready to do something and people got stopped. There's protection here with the star. I like that. I just don't like this pins and needles energy that I'm feeling.
but everything is still safe. Everything is
I'm
good.
not seeing an explosion or anything like that, but I can tell that there's a lot going on in the background. I feel almost it gives me the feeling that like an action might be stopped before. Yeah.
Do you see the seasoned, professionals coming back into the intelligence, the ones who've not in job now, starting from
So
this year? But
the FBI and
yeah, yeah.
CIA, the
Do you
one
see
that
them come back in
no,
coming
no,
years?
they're still, well, maybe coming years, but not anytime soon. No, no. Isn't there some legal action, Ace of Sword? I feel like there's some legal actions going on here. Lots going on behind the scenes. It's
Okay.
very messy.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
because I feel like we lost a lot of intelligence.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. In if we look in 2030s and 2040s, is this the big blown up, term de-dollarization? Is this a real fear? What do you see the value of dollar at that time if you look in 2030,
Um,
2040?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that it is the dollar. If you compare, for example, US dollar to Europe, has dropped. The euro has dropped like 20%, 15, 20% since the beginning of the year. That's just fact. I feel this is going to continue. I feel also that it's intuition that this is linked to crypto and Trump trying to bring the crypto value up.
Okay.
So let's look at the question. US dollar in 5 years, okay? The value of the US dollars in 5 years. Not good. I think it's not fully recovered. Struggle. 10 of wands, no. So we might be in a long cycle of the dollar losing its value.
Okay. Maybe another 10 years, it will
Yeah.
gradually come.
Interestingly, this is a 5, this is a 10. That might say 5 to 10 years.
So where should people invest for their retirement if they are in their 30s and 40s? Should they keep investing in the same 401ks or buy some property over the years to save for, if dollar is coming down? What is the next bet for the old age?
First thing that I'm hearing is be careful with real estate with climate change. The value of property is going to change drastically.
Okay.
If you're nowhere near a water area, be very careful with that. Be careful of places if you invest in properties where insurance might not be willing to insure you because of fires, water, wind, which at the end of the day, going to be a lot of places, but that's a reality. So be careful on the real estate side. What's coming up to me is the metals, precious metals. That's why Trump, every time that he's somewhere, wants the metals, whether it's Ukraine, Greenland, China, going after metals, gold, silver. So, I mean, that I think it would be, but you cannot put all your money in that. That's just very risky. You have to diversify, but I think in your diversification portfolio, have some in metals.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, next question is state of the US democracy in next 10 years. Are we still a democracy in 2035, 2040? Or are there a few states that want to split because they don't want autocratic rule? They want to, I don't know. Are we splitting? Or are we still a democracy?
Yeah, I see the United States staying the United States. I think we are and we continue to be in a hard time, no doubt about it. But there is healing. There is healing in the star, which is the United States, but also hopes and dreams. Legal aspects will come through. To me, that's the sense. The King of Swords is there will be a redo of the U.S. Constitution, and I could see an assembly taking place to redo the U.S. Constitution. For example, we could remove the fact that a felon could run for president. There could be a little detail that could be removed there as an example. But I see an assembly working on redoing the Constitution. But after all this mess.
Okay. All right.
And a mess it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything messed up. Everything.
Yeah.
And one thing I keep hearing in Sterling shows and even Linda G that there are ETs out there who are always there to prevent in case there's any nuclear event. Is that true? You also see that?
I feel like I see ETs intervening to prevent very drastic issues. So they could, if there was a nuclear bomb, they could reorient the bomb. But if there's a hurricane, I think they're not necessarily stopping the hurricane because then the question is why can't they stop everything? Obviously, they're not stopping everything, and I feel like they could potentially, but they also want people. If they were stopping all the weather events, then how would we actually do something? People need to see. That's a big theme here. We need to see things for what they are.
Yeah. Yes.
So if it's like really, really, really like catastrophic, they would stop, but it needs to reach that point.
Okay. Interesting. And
Maybe, Tina, maybe your last question as
yes.
close
This is
time.
my
Yeah.
last question. Yes. Do you see the maps of certain countries change in the next 5 to 10 years due to civil unrest happening everywhere? And that is mostly because of, as we had discussed earlier in the show, because of the right-wing governments being everywhere, from Asia to South America, everywhere. Do you see a lot of civil unrest and, breakup of countries into any particular, this is, the youth is everywhere demonstrating.
The card that I pulled just for kicks is the world. So you kind of get the point that yes, but I don't want you to think this is just the extreme right. Remember, it's a pendulum. It's going to shift. What I'm more concerned is people fighting for resources, for space, for water. And the biggest challenge going to be exactly what you're talking about. Countries fighting for borders and space and wars and on the ground fighting for territories, but because certain people are going to have to go somewhere when the ocean level will rise, when certain place couldn't be livable for humans, people will fight for space.
Yes.
I'm more concerned about that.
Okay. They will move. Mass migrations will happen.
Mass migrations.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So thank you, Tina. Maybe I will pull a card. People tend to like that we finish those heavy topics with something
Yes.
uplifting. So
Yes.
I will pull a card from the Wales Oracle. And the card is interesting. It's soul migration and humility. Soul migration, humility. And that I feel like it's, if I can zoom, yeah. It is talking about, actually, I have the book right there. I would like to take some of those themes. But humility tells us to be very aware of our individual actions. Every action that we all make has an impact. The whales migrate across the sky not because they know exactly where they're going, but because they trust the journey. So there's a notion of trust. The woman stepping into the sea doesn't cling to the mirror of the past. She released them, knowing that her reflection would always change, which is another theme. Everything in life is temporary. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything is temporary. When we say this truth shall pass, is because there's not a single thing in life that's permanent. Now is the time to do the same. Step forward. We need to continue to step forward. Surrender to the vastness. There's an aspect of letting go. Still be active in fighting, but also trusting. It's very, very important. Let the humility guide you. And our soul is in motion. Our soul is adjusting. So our body, our physical body, our 3D world, we're adjusting to all this craziness, but also trust that the soul itself is adjusting and helping us and guiding us. Thank you so much, Kelly, Sabrina, Tina. This was fantastic. I'm so grateful for having you here. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. It was
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful.
And see you next time for another episode of Meet the Psychic Press. If you are watching this and you want to be part of the panel, you just email me and we'll be glad to have you on board. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching. Take care.
Thank you.